Hi and welcome. Today I have a very springy art tag. I start with a piece of Bristol Smooth that was cut on my Cricut into a tag, and I have a stamp that is a hydrangea, and I stamp it with Versamark because I'm going to do embossing of the outline of it. And I'm going to be using some gold embossing powder. And I'm not sure why, but there's kind of some streaks of the gold on the tag. Almost like it was wet, but I know it wasn't, so I'm not sure exactly why it did that. And I was gonna use a brush to wipe it off, but I kind of liked it. Kind of made it look a little vintage, maybe. I'm not sure, but I decided to keep all those stray embossing powders right where they were. So I heat embossed it, and I love the gold because it just really shines. And I like that I wanted to emboss it because when I painted the petals, I wanted it to kind of use the embossing ink to kind of hold the paint in, or the ink in. And so I'm gonna be putting some colors on my mat and use a paintbrush to hand paint the hydrangea. I'm using some purples. I have some what's it, wilted violet, and what was the other one? I don't use purple very much. Seedless preserves. So those are my two purples. They're quite different. And if you look at a hydrangea when it's blooming, you'll see that there's a lot of variation in the color of petals. So I wanted to accentuate that in this piece, so it showed that there's a lot of different color in the petals. And you can see I'm not being really precise, or I'm just kind of plopping it on, trying to keep it inside the circle of the bud or the head of the flower, but not really worrying about too much of anything else. Gonna give that a dry and then go on to the stem. And I have 3 different greens. I'm going to use mowed lawn, peeled paint, and shabby shutters. I don't know if I use much shabby shutters, but I do at least use the other 2. And I try to get the stem a little bit darker than the leaves. And still I want some variation in the leaf as well. So I'm done painting the flower and stem, and I want to add some color to the rest of the tag without messing up the flower. So I have this stencil, and with the way that the circles were laid out, I thought it would be fairly easy to do some stenciling without actually messing up the head of the flower. And then I actually add some splatters as well, but again, I don't want anything to go on the head of the flower, so I just cover it up with a circle of scrap paper, and I'm going to splatter some peeled paint. And I give that a dry. Once it's dry, I'm gonna just edge the outside of the tag just a little bit with some vintage photo just to give it an edge. I don't want to make it look old or vintage or anything. I just want to add a little bit of edge. And then I'm going to choose a few things to do a little bit of collaging. Not a whole lot. I want the flower to kind of stand out, but I don't want it to like just be floating in the air there. So I'm going to have a number strip and then maybe another sticker as well that will go along with that. The sticker has a edge that I will be trimming off. And I thought I would add a butterfly. So I went through and was looking at some of my butterflies for a nice color, and I actually saw a white one that I thought would look good. So I'm using that. And the sticker, at first I leave the black edge, but then I decided I didn't like the black edge on there anymore, you know, because there's nothing else black on the picture or on that piece. So I'm just cutting that black edge off. Add in a little bit of ink to the edges of it. And it is a sticker. These are pretty sticky, so I'm just gonna stick it on. And also distress the numbers. And this is from Tim Holtz number strip. And glue that on so that the stem is buried into the number strip. And gluing down the butterfly just in the center body portion so that the wings are not glued down. And I'm going to add a sentiment. And this one is going to say, with a gentle nature. This one is from the Clippings sticker book. And it is a sticker, but I do glue these down just in case. And the last thing I'm going to do is add some ribbon on top of the tag. And this, I'm going to be using 2 of the greens. I used mowed lawn and peel paint. And I'm using some of that seam binding ribbon I have, just cutting a couple strips. I usually do 2. Not real long. I don't like them real long. And I'm just gonna smoosh them around into the ink, soaking up as much of that ink as I can, and then dry it up just a bit. It doesn't take long, just a little bit of drying. Once they're dry, I line them up and then I kind of weave them through to pull them. I don't want to pull them really hard because that is just mixed media paper and it could rip it. But then that's it. I have some final pictures coming up. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And if you like what you saw, please give me a thumbs up. Either way, I hope you have an awesome day.